Hi everybody, my name is Ziemer and I am a band director at Discovery Middle School in Alexandria, Minnesota, and I'm a Cannonball educator. The Cannonball team emailed and asked for some of their Cannonball educators to submit a video with a tip or something that they found useful or helpful. And so I wanted to just talk a little bit about my online setup. I find that many of the directors in my area have been asking as we make that transition to distance learning, what is everybody using for their setup? So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. I'll show you my setup that I've been using, that I've settled into, and talk a little bit about it. So first things first, I'm a saxophone player by trade, and I play Cannonball musical instruments because I think they're absolutely beautiful. They play well. They have a good sound. I've been playing on Cannonball instruments for a while now. So my main Cannonball instrument is my tenor here, and this is a Cannonball Vintage Series tenor. I bought it in 2013, I think, 2012, somewhere in there. And then last year I purchased, I had ordered a Cannonball Vintage Series soprano to go along with it. I absolutely love this instrument, and it plays exceptionally well and does everything that I need it to do. It's really great. In our middle school, we own two Cannonball baritone saxophones, and they are absolutely wonderful for us. We've had them for almost 20 years now, and they handle anything the kids can throw at them while sounding great and playing well. A couple years ago, we bought a brand new Stone Series Barry for the high school program, and that instrument's been doing really well too. So thank you, Cannonball, for making such great instruments, and hence why I'm a Cannonball educator. I really enjoy their instruments, and they do really well in the school setting and in the professional setting where I play. So a little bit about what I teach. So I teach middle school band. I have a colleague, Greg, who in the beginning of the school year we started in hybrid, and from hybrid we moved into distance learning. And in the hybrid environment, Mr. DeGear taught our students when they were in person, and then when they weren't in person, so every other day they were at home, they would tune in on Google Meet with me, and I've kind of retrofitted our Wenger practice room here as a little studio for myself. So what I thought would be helpful, like I said, a lot of directors in my area have been asking, what kind of setup should one use, or what kind of things should be used. So I'm just going to go through my setup today and show you what I've settled into over the last couple months of doing distance learning, and hopefully it helps you out, maybe gives you an idea of where to start. Maybe you're in distance learning, you've got a setup, but you're looking for some different things to do with it. So let's check out the setup. All right, so this is my setup here. I've been using this setup for the last couple months since we've been in distance learning. And I taught distance learning through our hybrid mode at the beginning of the year too. So this is what I've settled into so far, and I've really come to enjoy it. It seems a little complex, but I find that it just makes things a little bit easier, so I can focus on the content and focus on teaching. So going through my setup here. So I have a couple computers here. The first one, my main one here, runs all of the Google Meets. It runs our rehearsal slide that comes out daily. So when the kids are joining the meet, I have a slide presented that they can see that tells them what we're doing for the day, what assignments they should be working on and turning in. It has a timer on it for 3 minutes, and that starts at the beginning of the hour. That tells them, hey, 3 minutes to get your instrument out, look at the slide, get ready for rehearsal. And so that's what this machine does most of the heavy lifting there. I have a second monitor hooked up to it, and this I found in distance learning is a must, to have a second monitor hooked up to whatever computer you're using. If you're using a laptop or a desktop, doesn't matter. But that second monitor is hugely important, because I can have my Google Meet on one screen, be able to see the kids, see them playing, working with them, and then I can have a presentation on the other screen. I can have my attendance rosters on there. Whatever I'm working on could be on the second screen. So I find that second monitor to be really important. The second tool that, with the help of our students, we found out was really important is a metronome. So I've got a metronome it's plugged in on this iPad, and it's plugged into a speaker over here. So when I press play, it's going to play my metronome, my tempo that I'm going with, and broadcast it over the Meet for the kids. So we found this was really important. It helps the kids stay together and when they're at home, because naturally on the Google Meet they're muted, so the only thing they can hear is me and then my metronome. But the metronome really helps them stay together, so that addition was really important as well. Couple monitor speakers just for good sound output, and then all of that is run into the Mac using a Focusrite Scarlett down here. Any interface will work, but that's the one I have. I have a second computer here. This laptop runs, I have sound effects that I use in class, so if a student plays a solo really, really well and does a nice job, I've got an applause button that I can push and it plays applause sounds over the Google Meet. Or one of the big things we do right now is if we have perfect attendance, I have a sound effect for that, and the kids really work hard they want to hear that sound effect in it, and we have a lot of fun with it. I also have a cricket sound, so we've all been there, that silence while we're waiting for everybody to join the Google Meet, or we're waiting for someone to answer a question. It's fun to play the cricket sound and just the silence that goes on. We have a lot of fun with it. So this computer does the sound effects. It also does any audio that I do. So if we're listening to band music on YouTube or on iTunes, whatever it may be, this computer's job is to play that clearly. I have a program called Loopback that allows me to broadcast anything audio played on this machine onto the Meet, and it's really good sound quality, really clear. And so we've been having a lot of fun with that. So that's what this machine does. The other thing it does is I have a MIDI keyboard run into it for Logic. So between the MIDI keyboard and Logic, I can play a marimba part if I need to, or I can play a bells part if I need to demonstrate that sound. I also have a percussion station off in the distance that you can't see, but I have that set up with an additional webcam so I can demonstrate technique and things like that for the students. So the MIDI keyboard is here for that, and that's what the second computer does. So this is the setup that I use, and I've kind of settled into the setup over a little bit of time. Definitely not completely needed. You don't need all this stuff. I have colleagues that teach with just a laptop and a good USB microphone, and that works just fine. So I encourage you to find a setup that works well for you, that you enjoy and does what you need it to do. I guess if I had any parting advice for you, I would just say to don't be afraid to reach out to your fellow teachers. Don't be afraid to go on Facebook and look at the various teaching groups that are out there. There are a lot of band director groups on Facebook. There's a lot of general music groups on Facebook, and they're all spectacular. And I'm finding a lot of resources and things on there too. I would also encourage you to, as you're looking for these resources and you're looking at them, remember that you don't need to do it all. Okay, I think the biggest takeaway I've had with all this is less is more, and really being effective and really choosing the things that are really going to help your students. And your students the best. So when you're looking through all these resources, really think about your students and what's going to benefit them the most. And just know that whatever you are doing is really good. So keep up the good work. I hope this video was helpful for you. I want to say thank you to the Cannonball family and the whole team there for not only making great instruments, but inviting Cannonball educators to come out and put out some resource videos and things like that. So I hope this was helpful for you. And with that, enjoy Midwest and have a wonderful rest of the school year here.